So this is the final episode of the series of female Japanese tanka poets. If you've not listened to the other two, do go back and visit with them. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on some great poetry. Today, I'm mostly going to talk about the work of one poet, Tawara Machi. But before I bring you her poetry, just a few reminders. The latest journal, 524, which has senryu, video prompt haiku and senryu, and the great poetry written for you by the lovely poets from India, and the anthology that we put together, Little Marvels, are both out now and available for you to purchase. Links will be in the show notes. As you know, I've started to think about next year, and one of the projects I'd like to continue with is the anthology. It was such a joy to put it together, and I'm thinking next year we should write to a theme. And something that I've been debating about in my mind is the theme of belonging. I was discussing this with one of the team here, Lev Hart, and he countered with the idea of looking at belonging and its antonym, alienation. I'm just throwing that out there, and I'd really like your ideas, because if I leave it too much longer, I won't be able to change course. But also a reminder at this point that the anthology is by invitation only, and so only poets on the mailing list will get that invitation. You know what you have to do. If you're not on the mailing, sign up on the website. I've had a few quick questions about using PayPal recently. Apparently, it's easier for some of you to purchase the memberships and make donations using PayPal. So I've reinstated that button on the website. It's been tested and it works. Hurrah! So that is another way to buy us a coffee, so to speak. Last and definitely not least, Tanka submissions have closed. If you've sent me something and haven't heard back by the end of the month, November 2024, please email me. The video prompt, the last of 2024, is up and running on our YouTube channel, and you have the opportunity to leave your poems in the comments until the end of November. It's the last chance this year to have your poems considered for a Touchstone nomination from us. Don't miss out. If you're coming to this sometime in the future, check out the website and see what we're up to. There's usually something. Now, let's get back to the poetry. Now, as I said at the beginning, this is the third part of our female Japanese tanka poets series, and the last bit. And today I'd like to talk to you specifically about Tawara Machi, who was born in 1962. Like the other female poets we've listened to, she is university educated. And in her case, she studied Japanese literature at Waseda University, which is where she met Professor Sasaki Yukitsuna, himself a renowned authority on tanka, and of course a poet. And he became her mentor. And I thought we'd start off with a poem from him. I am hammered in a fold of the country's poetry history. Am I a pillar standing pallid? I am hammered in a fold of the country's poetry history. Am I a pillar standing pallid? Sasaki Yukitsuna, translated by Faye Aoyagi. I chose this poet as to me it portrays the vulnerability we often feel as poets. At least I do, and possibly you do too. Sasaki was from a literary family. His grandfather founded the magazine Kokoro no Hana, which apparently means heart blossoms. And as I read this poem, I was asking myself, is he wondering whether his work is good enough in the context of his family's talent? Have a listen again. I am hammered in a fold of the country's poetry history. Am I a pillar standing pallid? Back to Machi. She, as I said, studied Japanese literature and took some interest in translating ancient classical texts into modern contemporary Japanese. As we know, Tanka, or Waka as it was known in its pre-modern form, does have history in the ancient texts. So we can probably safely assume that she was knowledgeable about Tanka and its evolution. And given her phenomenal success as a poet, she did have some talent in her own right. So how successful was her first collection, which was called Salad Anniversary and published in 1987? To give you an idea, from what I've read, the Japanese version sold somewhere in the region of 2.5 to 3 million copies in the first 6 months. Amazing, particularly for a poetry book, eh? It is available in English via Pushkin Press, and I'll leave a link in the show notes if you want to follow up and read that. Having had this success with Salad Days, Machi became a poster girl for the Tanka form. She's written many essays and some books on it, and is seen as revitalizing the Tanka genre in Japan. She's well known for advocating that the form requires 31 syllables and has strived to stay within those confines. But of course, it's hard for us to judge, as when her work is translated into English, it loses that form. I'm going to read you a poem from her work Salad Anniversary, translated into English. And as you'll see, there are far fewer than 31 syllables. I remember your hands, your back, your breath, your white socks lying where you took them off. I remember your hands, your back, your breath, your white socks lying where you took them off. Tawara Machi, Salad Anniversary. Translated by Juliet Winters Carpenter. So given that we don't think about counting syllables, or at least we can't really compare the Japanese on to an English language syllable, perhaps we should look at the themes she works with. And just to give you a rundown, we're looking at themes like love, heartache, loneliness, food. There's a clue in the Salad Anniversary there. And later on, motherhood. Her first work, Salad Anniversary, was written in contemporary language, albeit with lightly written classical references in the original Japanese, which made it very accessible to her Japanese audience. She wrote of everyday things in, as I said, a light style. For example, love. Your left hand exploring my fingers one by one. Maybe this is love. Your left hand exploring my fingers one by one. Maybe this is love. Tawara Machi, Salad Anniversary, translated by Juliet Winters Carpenter. And again, like in the last episode, you'll see that Juliet has translated this into 3 lines. We're not going to talk about that this year. When we do Tanka next year, we'll have a look at that. Call again, you say, and hang up. I want to call again, right now. Call again, you say, and hang up. I want to call again, right now. Tawara Machi, Salad Anniversary, translated by Juliet Winters Carpenter. When you hear that one, what does it make you feel? For me, it sounds like young, first love, the excitement of it all, the worry that nobody's going to call you back, that sort of thing. Let's turn to the theme of heartache, at least as I see it. The day I left home, Dad muttering not, so you're off, but so you're leaving us. The day I left home, Dad muttering not, "So you're off," but "So you're leaving us." Tawara Machi. Salad Anniversary, translated by Juliet Winters Carpenter. The day I left for Tokyo, Mother looked older by all the years of separation ahead. The day I left for Tokyo, Mother looked older by all the years of separation ahead. Tawara Machi, Salad Anniversary, translated by Juliet Winters Carpenter. As a parent who frequently says goodbye to their children at airports, I can identify with this, but I do hope that every time we say goodbye, I don't look older by all the years of separation ahead. This next poem feels like she's exploring the theme of loneliness. Standing in the subway exit, it hits me. There's no one waiting for me. Standing in the subway exit, it hits me. There's no one waiting for me. Tawara Machi, Salad Anniversary, translated by Juliet Winters Carpenter. And I promised you food. At the speed of the spreading sunset, croquettes in the back of the butcher shop fry a golden brown. At the speed of the spreading sunset, croquettes in the back of the butcher shop fry a golden brown. Tawara Machi, Salad Anniversary, translated by Juliet Winters Carpenter. Where does that image take you? It takes me to a Krispy Kreme in Delaware. Not sure of the town, but I know I was in Delaware. Just watching all those donuts roll off the production line, getting an even coat of brown as they came towards me. You know, as I read through Salad Anniversary, I couldn't help but compare Machi's work with the themes of Taylor Swift. If you don't know what I mean, check out pretty much any one of her albums. But my current favorite track is August from the album Folklore. Salad Anniversary was apparently written from her imagination. Tawara Machi had no lover while she wrote this book. No one to wait for, no one to cook for, no one to break up from. But you'll be pleased to know that she did find love. And in 2005, she wrote a book based upon her experience as a mother. Whose knows? Today, a voice has joined his smile, like a black and white film changing to color. Today, a voice has joined his smile, like a black and white film changing to color. Tawara Machi, translated by Quentin S. Crisp. I think most parents will identify that wonder as your child develops and a voice emerges. Rocking, but not moving forward. Child rearing is this rocking horse time that you have given me. Rocking, but not moving forward. Child rearing is this rocking horse time that you have given me. Tawara Machi, translated by Quentin S. Crisp. And you can hear Quentin read some of these poems to you if you follow the link in the show notes. Machi has written a number of collections, but the translations are few and far between. So the last poems I'm going to read you are from her collection, Chocorito Kakumai, Chocolate Revolution, which was published in 1997. I chose this because I could find some translations, but also because if you're anything like me, you like a bit of controversy. And in this book, Machi has exchanged her young, lovelorn heroine into an anti-heroine, a taboo-breaking, family-destroying temptress. And from what I read, didn't necessarily go down a treat with some of her readers. Little girl, you told me you loved grilled meat and gratin dishes, but I love your daddy. Little girl, you told me you love grilled meat and gratin dishes, but I love your daddy. Tawara Machi, translated by John Holt. Is it just me, or can you feel a bit of a menacing tone about this poem? The poems in this collection, Chocolate Revolution, seem to me a little bit more adult in nature. I think they illustrate that Machi has grown up somewhat. Not just that her theme is a development in the relationship between her protagonists, but I think she writes in a more adult way, and possibly writes for a more adult audience. Maybe she was expecting that audience she had 10 years prior to grow up with her. See if you agree with me as I give you another couple of her poems. Perhaps it's the cold of rainy season that I borrow your button-up shirt, still feeling you hold me, and for a while I read the continuation of the mystery. Perhaps it's the cold of rainy season that I borrow your button-up shirt, still feeling you hold me, and for a while I read the continuation of the mystery. Tawara Machi, translated by John Holt. We're like chocolate, melting as we hold each other in the small room of the sauna, skin on top of skin. We're like chocolate, melting as we hold each other in the small room of the sauna, skin on top of skin. Tawara Machi, translated by John Holt. I hope you've enjoyed this series on female tanka poets, and that they've inspired you to write your own tanka on the themes I've been talking about, or other ones, however the muse comes to you. It seems to me that writing tanka allows you to be a little bit more overtly emotional than you would be if you were writing haiku. And I look forward to reading your tanka as myself and the team choose the tanka for the next journal. If you've enjoyed the tanka, if you'd like to write more tanka next year, do please let me know, and I'll put it on the agenda. Don't forget, sign up for the newsletter if you're not already signed up, and join me next week when I have a tremendous reading and a tribute to one of the brightest stars in the haiku universe. But until then, keep writing. And don't forget there will be an essay to accompany this series on tanka. Link will be in the show notes. I do hope you download it and enjoy it. Let me know. Ciao.